Hi everyone, it's Melvin here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first ever YouTube video, so bear with. And if it doesn't work, then I guess I'll just stick to... So a bit of an introduction about me. I am from the UK, which you can probably tell by my accent. I also work as an iOS engineer. So I recently bought a used lens from Facebook Marketplace. So I kind of wanted to do a video on why I decided to buy a used lens for my brand new Sony A7 III, which by the way is still not here because it's still getting shipped out to me. But more on the unboxing and why I made the decision to buy a Sony A7 III on another video. So after spending most of my money on a brand new Sony A7 III, I was almost out of money. And who knew lenses would be the most expensive part of a camera? I've had this used lens for a couple of days now, so I kind of wanted to talk about why I made the decision to buy a used lens. I'm also going to be talking about some of the things that you should watch out for when buying a used lens. So I picked this lens up from Facebook Marketplace for around £80, and that's like the fractional price when it's brand new. And when new, you'll be looking to pay around £250 or even up to £300. So when buying a lens, I kind of wanted to get a good enough lens that pretty much covers a wide range of things. It should have optical image stabilization built in, a decent enough aperture, decent enough zoom, so on and so forth. So I decided to go for a kit lens, which are normally shipped with the Sony A7 III cameras. This is the 28-70 Sony E-mount lens with a variable aperture of 3.5. This also has OSS, which is optical image stabilization, so you get that gimbal-like experience when shooting a video. And because this is a Sony E-mount lens, it works really well with the Sony software ecosystem. Now, you might be wondering, there's got to be something wrong with this lens. But in fact, there were no dings, no scratches, no damages to the lens itself. But it was, however, missing the documentation, the original package, and the rear cap, which kind of brought the cost way down from its original market value. But I wasn't really bothered with the documentation or the original package because I'm going to be throwing this on my A7 III and probably never taking it out. Which brings me on to my other point. I'm a complete newbie when it comes to using cameras because I never really owned a camera in my life. Sure, I used it. I've had some experiences in weddings and events and stuff like that. You know when someone gives you a really expensive camera and asks you to take a picture and they're like, have you ever used a camera before? And then you're like, no. Then they're like, just put it on automatic and then just click the shutter button. Then don't press anything else. So that's basically me. I've had little to no experience on using a professional camera. So I thought, since I have no clue what the hell I'm doing, why not invest in something that's really cheap, then use that to get my hands dirty and learn from it. Then once I find my style of videography or photography, then buy a lens that is more tailored to my taste. So let's go over 5 things that you should watch out for when buying a used lens. First and foremost, guys, you have to make sure there are no big scratches on the front and back of your lens. If there are big scratches, then you're likely going to see that in the photo or the video that you're going to take. If there are minor scratches, remember to take pictures or video, then look at the picture or the video and see if the scratches show up. If there are minor scratches, then you can sort of use that to negotiate a cheaper price for your lens. Lenses are one of the most complicated mechanical components to your camera, and there are a lot of moving components within a lens. If the lens had been dropped in the past, then it might be that some of its internal components could be damaged, such as the optical image stabilization or the focus ring or whatever components that are within the camera. So if you notice dings or scratches on the outside of the lens, remember to thoroughly test all of the lens's functionalities before you decide to purchase the lens. Which brings me on to my third point. Remember to check if the lens actually works. So mount the lens onto a camera and check if some of its features actually work, such as optical image stabilization. You can test that by taking a video and check if the video is stable. Check for things like autofocus, check for manual focus. Does zooming in and out work? Does the aperture ring close all the way in? Does it open all the way wide? If there are buttons on the lens, check if they're actually working. So remember to check all these features and more before you buy a used lens. My fourth point is to check the actual mount of the lens. So this is the area that fits onto your camera body. If there are severe signs of wear and tear, then it is a likely indication that the lens had been poorly swapped in and out of the camera body several times, Although this may not lead to poor image quality or video quality, but it is a likely indication that the lens had been poorly looked after. You can actually use this to your advantage and negotiate a cheaper price for the used lens. My fifth point is to check for any signs of dust or water damage within the lens. So open the lens cap and look through the lens and check for any signs of dust. If there are dust within the lens, then you will need to consider that it will show up in the picture or the video that you're going to take. So you might need to do extra work in post-production to remove all those little specks. So what you could do is mount the lens onto a camera and take few pictures or videos and check for any signs of particles within those images. So those are the 5 key points that you need to consider when buying a used lens. And finally, ask a lot of questions, because at the end of the day, you're going to be spending your hard-earned cash on something that is used. So you want to make sure that you're getting a good deal and buying a lens that is suited for the price it is going for. So ask questions like how long did they have the lens for, why are they selling it, any damages, how often did they use it, so on and so forth. To summarize the 5 points, I actually said 6 points, didn't I? Okay, to summarize the 6 points, first, make sure there are no scratches on the front and back of the lens. Check for any signs of dings or dents on the outside of the lens. Check the mount area of the lens for any signs of wear and tear. Check if the lens features actually work by mounting onto a camera. Check for any signs of water damage or dust within the lens. And finally, ask a lot of questions. That is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video and found some of the information I shared with you super useful. So go out there and find a really good deal on a used lens. If you found this video super useful, then give it a thumbs up, and you can find all the links to my social media account right below that like button. Peace.